Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're exploring a seriously fascinating biological reality. The very first 60 minutes of your day actually dictate whether your body enters a fat-burning mode or a fat-storing mode. I know, it's a bold claim, but it's really not just about what you eat for breakfast or how hard you sweat at the gym. It's actually about this hidden morning signal that tells your body exactly how to process energy. I'm so excited to share this because once you understand how this mechanism works, taking control of your health just feels so much more straightforward and, honestly, achievable for absolutely anyone.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the stubborn fat mystery. Second, cortisol, the double-edged hormone. Third, two huge morning mistakes. Fourth, we'll outline the perfect morning routine. And finally, we'll wrap up with the post-meal secret.
All right, let's start right off with part one, the stubborn fat mystery. This is just an incredibly common and frankly super frustrating reality that so many of us face when we start trying to get healthier. Have you ever noticed this phenomenon? You start eating a bit better, the scale finally starts moving, maybe people even start telling you that you look great. The weight just vanishes from your face and your arms, but your waistline? It literally refuses to budge. Your pants feel exactly as tight as they did before. If this sounds familiar, please hear me on this. You might think you're just not trying hard enough, but this is absolutely not a discipline issue. It is a physical, measurable difference in the actual types of fat sitting in your body.
To see if your morning routine might be secretly working against you right now, I want you to mentally check off these 5 diagnostic questions. First, is your waist larger than it was 5 years ago, even if the scale hasn't really changed? Second, are you waking up between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. for absolutely no reason? Third, are you wide awake and totally wired at 11 p.m. but completely exhausted by 7 p.m.? Fourth, when you do put on a little weight, does it go straight to your midsection first? And finally, has your doctor mentioned that your fasting glucose or blood pressure is just slowly creeping up? If you answered yes to 2 or more of these, your body's stress signals might be entirely mismanaged.
So here's why answering yes to those questions actually matters. We have 2 very different types of fat. Subcutaneous fat is that soft, pinchable fat just under your skin, on your arms or legs. It safely stores energy, is totally fine. Visceral fat, however, is the dangerous, hidden fat that wraps right around your vital organs. Think your liver, your pancreas, your intestines. And here's the really alarming part about it. Visceral fat isn't just a passive storage unit. It acts as a toxic amplifier for your body's stress hormones. Which brings us perfectly to part 2, cortisol, the double-edged hormone.
Now, cortisol gets a pretty bad reputation in the health world, but I want to be super clear here. It's not actually a villain. Think of it more like a completely misunderstood morning alarm clock. The problem is just that we accidentally leave it blaring all day long. Just think about this. 30 minutes. About 30 minutes after you open your eyes in the morning, your cortisol levels naturally peak. And this is supposed to happen. Your body intentionally raises cortisol to wake you up, get you alert, and get you moving for the day. It's a brilliant, completely normal biological process. Now, what's really interesting about this is how this natural hormone actually interacts with our fat. Researchers did this wild study where they directly infused cortisol into healthy people just to see what would happen. They found it was basically like 2 locks, 1 key. Cortisol turns the key, and the safe fat under your skin unlocks and releases energy, exactly like you'd want it to. But that dangerous visceral fat around the organs, it takes that exact same signal and locks down tight, absolutely refusing to budge. So cortisol essentially acts like anti-testosterone. While we know hormones like testosterone build muscle, burn fat, and give you loads of energy, chronic cortisol does the exact opposite. It stores fat, breaks down your hard-earned muscle, and leaves you feeling totally drained. And look, this doesn't just come from a stressful job or chaotic kids running around the house. Chronic high cortisol can come from undereating, overexercising, poor sleep, or, and this is a big one, just having bad morning habits. It creates this relentless fat-storing signal that you literally cannot just outwork by running faster on the treadmill.
Let's move right along to part 3, 2 huge morning mistakes.
So, how are we accidentally keeping this biological alarm ringing? Well, there are these incredibly common everyday actions that people take in their very first waking hour that accidentally supercharge that visceral fat-storing amplifier. Mistake number 1 usually happens before you even have a single sip of water. Pouring that immediate cup of coffee stacks a powerful stimulant right on top of your naturally peaking cortisol. And on top of that, after sleeping all night, you are naturally pretty dehydrated. When you throw a diuretic, like coffee, into a dehydrated system, thirst acts as a lagging indicator. It basically sends a desert survival stress signal to your body.
Your brain completely panics, thinks you're in a drought, and nudges your cortisol even higher to hoard whatever resources it can.
Mistake number 2 happens while you are literally still in bed, the morning scroll. When you grab your phone the absolute second you open your eyes, you're stacking quick dopamine hits and the stress of world news right onto that exact 30-minute window when cortisol is already at its daily peak. There was an absolutely stunning research paper released in 2025. They took people and simply blocked their morning internet for just 2 weeks. The result? Their mental health improved so drastically that the outcomes were comparable to antidepressant trials. Literally, no way. Simply removing that one stressful morning input gave people way better attention and made them feel incredibly refreshed.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why we need a new approach. Let's look at part 4, the perfect morning routine.
We've seen how easy it is to accidentally trigger that fat storage, so let's map out the really straightforward 60-minute chronological solution to fix it. Here's a simple step-by-step progression you can start tomorrow to lower that belly fat building signal. Step 1, no phone for the first 30 to 60 minutes. Let your brain wake up naturally without the barrage of alerts. Step 2, go to the bathroom, weigh yourself if you do that, and most importantly, hydrate. Step 3 is what we like to call sun walking, getting light and movement at the exact same time. And finally, step 4, delay your coffee for 60 to 90 minutes. By waiting, your natural cortisol spike has already come down, meaning the caffeine can actually do its job properly without triggering a panic response in your body.
Let's detail that hydration step a bit because it's absolutely vital. To fix that morning drought we talked about, you want to drink 1 to 2 glasses of water. But here is the real trip. Add a tiny pinch of salt. And no, we aren't doing this for flavor. The salt provides the necessary electrolytes to literally pull the water directly into your organs, your muscles, and your brain, instead of it just flushing straight through your system. You can also use sparkling water, which naturally has electrolytes in it. This one little step effectively turns off your body's dehydration stress signal on autopilot.
Next up is the light fix. Getting just 5 to 10 minutes of morning sun is a biological powerhouse. It resets your clock genes, that's your circadian rhythm, which helps your hormones express properly and actively increases your insulin sensitivity for the entire rest of the day. And hey, if you live in a dark, gloomy climate where morning sun just isn't an option, don't worry about it. You can grab an inexpensive 10,000 lux sun lamp online. It releases the exact same wavelength of light to give you this crucial biological reset. You could even walk on a treadmill pad right in front of it. All right, bringing us to our final section, part 5, the post-meal secret.
So we've optimized that highly sensitive first hour of the day. This final biological hack applies to the moment you finally decide to break your fast, whether that's bright and early at 7 a.m. or way later at noon. Whenever you do eat your first meal, build it around 30 to 50 grams of protein. This is incredibly powerful. Researchers have actually done brain scans on people after a high-protein breakfast and watched the exact areas of the brain that drive junk food cravings literally go quiet for hours afterward. A fasted morning keeps your insulin low, but prioritizing protein when you finally eat keeps it super steady. This is the ultimate goal to prevent your body from flipping back into that visceral fat storage mode.
And what you do right after you eat is just as important. There was a fascinating study that compared taking 3 short 15-minute walks right after meals against taking one massive 45-minute daily walk. The total time walking was exactly the same, but the short post-meal walks provided superior blood sugar control all day and all evening. The long walk was good, sure, but those steady, perfectly timed short walks were the clear, undeniable winner for controlling blood sugar.
So, the crucial point here is understanding exactly why this works so beautifully. Your muscles have what we can think of as a side entrance. When you take a gentle 10-minute walk after eating, the light muscle contractions literally pull sugar straight out of your blood and park it safely right in your muscles. And the best part? It does this without needing insulin at all. You completely bypass the storage hormone. Like they say, cardio is something you do, but muscle is something you own. It's the biggest, safest sponge in your entire body to absorb that energy.
We've covered a ton of incredible ground today, but look, you definitely do not need to do all of these things at once. I want to end by leaving you with this one question. Which single morning habit will you change tomorrow to turn off your fat storage signal? Pick just one. Maybe it's keeping your phone out of the bedroom, or delaying your coffee, grabbing some morning sunlight, or just taking a simple 10-minute walk after you eat. Try just one of these for the next 7 days and just spark your curiosity to see how your body physically responds. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, keep putting one foot in front of the other.